Hello, so this is going to be the answers video to the gas mask Q&A. I got so many questions on this, unfortunately I couldn't answer all of them. So if I've not answered your questions, apology, wait to the next gas mask Q&A. I'll definitely do more of these because it was so popular. But what I will suggest as well is look through my channel, because again lots of people are asking questions on videos I'd already done. So if you've got a question, search it into Google or YouTube, see if I've done a video on it, see if somebody else has done a video on it. Look at that. And also, my opinions are my opinions, not facts, so of course, take everything with a grain of salt, do your own research, listen to what other people say as well, So, again, didn't get to answer as many questions as I wanted to, but what I'm going to do is try and give really good detailed answers to the questions I did put on here. That way, I also sort of prioritise Patreon or Super Chat donators. That way, it's just a bit of a bonus that people have donated to me. Apologies, you don't have to bribe me to get your question answered, but just, people who did, I'd always go a step beyond to get around to answering it. So, Potato Flinger says, how long do A2P3 filters last compared to regular P3s in a normal environment? And when the charcoal layer becomes saturated, are they basically P3 filters at that point? Yes. So, when you have an ABEC style filter or whatever, and it says P3 at the end of it, what that P3 bit means is that it's basically a, particulate level 3, particulate level 100 front sections of the filter. And then the A1, A2, whatever, means organic vapour level 1, organic vapour level 2. Apologies, I hope I've not got corona. That sort of stuff. So, yeah. So, yeah, when you have an A2P3 filter, for example, in your example, the A2P3, the particle bit in it is probably going to last just as long as a regular particle filter on any mask filter. The issue is, of course, that the vapour filter will expire faster, just because vapour filters expire when open to the air, just because all sorts of just odours and things get into them and start saturating the charcoal. But yes, when the charcoal layer expires, becomes saturated, they are still regular P3 filters. So yeah, if you've got old surplus filters and are in good condition, you might as well still keep them around for using as particle filters, because they still do that bit absolutely fine. There's no point in throwing them out or whatever, because you can still make use of them, assuming it's, a safe filter to use. I wouldn't recommend using old World War II filters or whatever due to the asbestos particles in them. But yeah, if you have an A2P3 filter, for example, like one of those Scott Pro filters, and it's a reasonable price, don't not get one if it's, cheaper than getting a P3 filter alone or whatever, or only slightly more expensive. Get that. The only disadvantage really to it is weight and size of having a combination filter combined with a particulate filter. But yeah, I end up doing that with quite a lot of my filters, is that basically when I've got old expired filters, I still use them for particle use, because as long as I'm not going to have the filter on for ages where the weight might become an issue, it doesn't really matter. So hopefully that's answered you. Ethan Marcus Perez says, do you recommend buying a Chinese 3M 6800 copy? Right, when it comes to Chinese 3M copies, from all the ones I've seen, the masks themselves can be alright, not as good as actual 3M masks, but the masks can be alright. The issue is Chinese knockoff 3M filters, because they are not to the grade of filter they are meant to be. When it comes to Chinese filters, generally PLA filters in People Liberation Army, the Chinese military, their filters are alright. Or good, Some Chinese industrial filters are also good. The issue is there's lots and lots of just shoddy Chinese filters out there, I guess, because of how many companies make them without very good standard control, that, are a bit crap. Now, a Chinese company that I would avoid masks from is that Pewter one, whatever they're called, where, straps ping off and all that shit. But yeah, in terms of Chinese 3M masks, obviously I would recommend real 3M masks over the Chinese ones any day, if you can afford them, just because you're getting the real deal with all the proper guarantees and everything. And as I've said before, as alternatives to 3M, there are other brands of half-face masks and full-face respirators, like the JSP ones, which I actually think are kind of better, in a way. But, yeah, if you end up getting a Chinese 3M mask, from the Chinese 3M clones I've seen, the masks themselves are actually of a decent quality. Just don't use the filters that come with them if you're using it for anything serious. Buy actual proper 3M filters, fit them to the mask, and then you've got, an alright quality mask, even if it is a sort of unlicensed copy. But then you've got the actual real proper filters on it. So the bit that's actually filtering the air you breathe, keeping you alive or whatever, you're using the proper certified ones. and then just for the mask face piece itself, yeah, you've cheaped out a bit. The Gaming Melon says, I'm planning to use an FP5 filter for when I have to go out and get supplies when I run out. I assume this is to do with Corona. My question is, how long would the activated charcoal on an FP5 filter last if it was just using it to filter out normal air? You actually answered this question on one of your streams and you said that it would last about a week, and by that do you mean actually 168 hours of continuous use, or what? And what are your estimates on how long the filter will last if it has chromium? Right, this is one of those how long is a piece of string questions, but I like answering this one because it's one where you can kind of enlighten people on gas mask filters. The issue is saying how long do filters last on certain things. It first comes down to the filter, so at least he's specified an FP5 filter so we know what we're dealing with here. But it depends if it's being exposed to regular air, is it being exposed to gases in what concentration, you know, how old is the filter, how well sealed has the filter been. Right, so if you're using it for Corona, the good news is the particle filter bit at the front, that's going to work fine regardless, so you don't have to worry about it expiring. If we are going to talk about its use against gas, now this is where it gets complicated because, again, if you take the mask off and you reseal the filter, it's going to last longer than if you left it open, you know, and stuff could waft into the filter potentially. Also, the more you breathe through it, so if you breathe faster and heavier, when you've got a mask on with the filter, it's going to run it out faster that way. Let's say you're just wearing it out and about and there wasn't any dangerous gases, but you went past some things with really strong odours, that would saturate the filters faster than if you were, you know, wearing it in almost a very sterile environment. So again, it's really, really hard to specify an exact time, so my advice is, really, more just when you're not using filters, keep them sealed. Don't open filters until you have to, if they're actual vapour filters or combination filters. For particulates it's not a problem because you know when they're used up for particles because they're so clogged that you can't breathe from them efficiently anyway. And chromium, as far as I'm aware, is in filters because it helps with ammonia. It's like a catalytic converter type thing against that. So I don't think it really makes the filter last longer or less time. It's more just down to the quality of the individual filter. So apologies if I'm not directly answered your question, but again, it's one of those ones there's no real way of answering it because there's just so many variables. So email 215p says, does it matter what material the filter casing is made of? I know most are either metal or some kind of plastic. Right. As long as the filter casing is strong enough that it's kind of waterproof, so you know moisture and that doesn't get into the filter and damage the filter medium, and it's durable enough that it's not going to break easily, so it's not made out of some really flimsy plastic, it's not really a problem. However, I can see advantages to plastic over metal because obviously certain types of metal can oxide and things like that, or probably corrode if certain gases hit them. Plastic tends to be a lot more strong against stuff like that. Plastic's also a bit lighter as well. For similar thicknesses, especially if you use something like thin polycarbonate, that would actually be very durable, but stuff like that. Also with a plastic filter, not many companies do this, but it's a cool thing, you could have clear plastic filters so you could just see the charcoal and the layers inside. I know it's not really economically viable for companies to do that, I just thought it would be a cool thing if you had a clear see-through filter. I know the Russians did that, or the Soviets did that with one of their generations of filter. But regardless, in terms of regular use, metal or plastic doesn't matter. Obviously, I would just say whatever's more durable and not going to break. Personally, I prefer decent quality plastics, like the types, are on the Scott filters, the Avon filters and all of those. But again, there's lots and lots of metal filters which are absolutely fine. It's just, in general, I've noticed obviously metal filters are more likely to start rusting under not ideal conditions, whereas plastic doesn't rust. I've had very few filters that have completely caved in and fallen apart. I don't know if any of my plastic filters have been dented, because I assume they'd either have to be hit hard enough that they'd sort of shatter, or otherwise they'd be fine, whereas metal filters could probably dent in horribly from little drops. So again, it's going to depend, again, a lot of time on the quality of the plastics and metals used, but there's not really any pros and cons to either in my opinion. Right. Madiel says, what's the difference between FP5 and A2P3? Which one is better for the COVID-19 if it's actually airborne? Right, from what we've found out, thankfully now, it seems that you only need a P3, P100 filter at most. Again, isolation and everything like that is better, avoiding sick people is better, but if you are going to go out and risk it and you've got a mask on, P3 filters, P100 filters are the most efficient in terms of how they filter. In that regard of, if you could only choose one thing or the other. FP5 filters, as far as I'm aware, are A2, B2, probably E and K1, and then P3. So that would be better than just an A2P3 filter, because bear in mind an FP5 is actually like a Polish CBRN sort of NBC military combination filter. It's not kind of for industrial use. But yeah, for COVID-19, FP5 or an A2P3 would be fine, because as long as you've got either of the particle filter at the front, just go for what's more affordable and in better condition. But yeah, so like I've said before, you can probably just get away with using a P3, P100 filter, but again, if you get a combination filter that's P3 at the front, that doesn't hurt, because there is still more filter medium between you and the virus microns. Right, Rising Sun Rabbi, or Rabi, said, will a GP5 filter protect me against COVID-19? Right, I'm not going to advise you use a GP5 filter, but let's say that's all you've got and you had to either use it or not use anything. If the GP5 filter is in good condition, so as in the filter medium is intact, so it still works as a filter, then it certainly gives you better protection than nothing. I would imagine if we used modern kind of examples, the GP5 filters are probably P2 rated, not P3. They do kind of have that heaper looking design to it, but obviously they're old kind of asbestos-y cardboard things, rather than being, you know, like efficient paper or fiberglass designs. So I say they're probably P2, but again, that's much better than nothing. And after you've got the particle layer at the front, you know, you've got the charcoal in it, and then you've got another particle layer keeping that charcoal from being inhaled. So yeah, there's enough medium in a GP5 filter that's certainly better than nothing. But again, as I have said, I'd really advise you not to use old Soviet filters, but any old filter for that reason, just because the asbestos in old filters sometimes is the least of your worries, because if you've got an old filter that's prone to leaking due to age and like storage conditions, breathing in charcoal or any other sort of dusts coming out of the filter is never a good idea. So you know, bear that in mind. And Alexander Merkulov, if I'm pronouncing your name right, apologies if I'm not, said, expired filters, if they were stored properly for years, in other words, is it still worth buying a filter if its due date is a few years away? I would say yes, but again, it's going to depend on the price. So let's say you're looking at sites and they've got filters that are in date for like £30, $30, something like that, and then they have filters that are expiring sooner rather than later, and they're massively marked down. I have bought soon-to-be expired filters like that quite a few times before, because I've seen, say on eBay in the UK, sometimes there's companies that's, you know, like hardware companies, they'll have filters with a few years left on them that are quite expensive, and then they have filters that run out the same year as you're buying them, and they've got them marked down to like £3 to £5 per filter for, you know, like ABEC 2P3 filters, or, you know, other good high quality filters. So for that regard, I would say yes, it's worth buying them if they've been marked down a lot. Again, if you keep them stored properly and everything, you don't have to worry about them expiring, you know, the day the expiry runs out, they're probably going to last longer, but again, it depends what you're using them for. If it is for something really serious, like gas related or whatever, then I would always use in-date filters, but if you're doing it for something like that, you know, you're going to very occasionally need to buy filters, or it will be for a job where your employer should be providing you with all this stuff. But for just regular people, yeah, if you just want to have some filters laying about, if it's much more affordable, especially if you're getting filters for the entire family or something, to get like a pack of 5 filters that might expire in 6 months, and then you just keep them stored properly, well, they'll probably last another 5-10 years easily. I'd much advise doing that over breaking the bank over one filter that's got a couple of extra years on it. Again though, if you could find a filter like a good quality Avon one, or like an MSA one, or like whatever, that's packaged really well and it's got like a 15-20 year expiry date on it, like it's almost an as new, you know, filter has been made, then that might be worth getting one of those, you know, so it lasts you absolutely ages. But if it comes down to a filter that expires in 3 to 6 months that's very cheap, or a filter that expires in a couple of years for a lot more money, I would go for the one that expires soon. Because as I've said before, the issue I've had with some of the Scott filters, as much as I think the filters themselves are good quality, they don't wrap them very well. With a lot of the Scott Pro filters, it's absolutely fine for just the P3, P100 ones on their own, but when you get the A2 P3 ones or the ABEC ones, they don't put any plugs in the filter. It's just literally a vacuum sealed plastic bag around the filter that's quite flimsy and thin. So quite often by the time it gets to you in the post, the bag's split, and then technically the filter's already been exposed to the air, which is obviously not great at all if you bought a brand new filter. So yeah, I think a lot of the time as well it depends on how well stored the filters are. I'd be willing to pay more for filters that, you know, have got caps and plugs and then tape and foil over them, rather than just one that's sealed in a plastic bag. Also make sure the dates are obvious on the filter, because as we said before, some sort of dodgy sellers like to scratch the dates off filters or pull date labels off. You see that a lot of Israeli filters. Because personally I don't mind if my Israeli filter's expired if I'm buying a surplus one, but I just like to know when it has expired. But lots of sellers pull the dates off the filters if they're the Israeli ones on the sticker, for example, which is why I always like the things printed on, because that way you at least know when it's expired or not expired. But sadly you'll see a lot of sellers do that because they want to charge a generic price for all the filters, and they don't want to, like, you know, have people say, "I'll buy an older one for less money," or, you know, "What's the latest one you have in date?" Lots of sellers get shitty about that for some reason, but there you go. I mean, I think the better thing is when, if you're a seller, you just price the filters based on expiry date or what the filter is. You see quite a lot of sellers do that, but just weirdly some don't want to do that. I guess it's effort. But yeah, there you go. So hopefully that's answered the questions. Apologies, I only did about 7 or so questions on this video. But as I said, I was really surprised by just how many comments I've been getting at the moment. So yeah, thank you for watching. The next Q&A video I will probably do will be on radiation stuff, but I'll leave it maybe a few days to a week before I film the questions video for that. Because I want to give myself a break from doing videos like this, because they're a bit sort of a different format. But it was a brilliant idea from Dr. Golly, I think, doing this type of video. Yeah, so thank you everyone that asked a question, and at some point I'll do another gas mask Q&A one, so if I didn't answer your question on this one, check I've not done a video on it in the meantime, or somebody else hasn't done a video on it in the meantime, and then ask the question again on that one, and hopefully I might spot it this time before it disappears in the wall of comments.